Hello everyone and welcome to Tabletop Tea Time, the board game variety show where a load of creators are invited on to talk about a various topic. And this month's episode is all about Deluxification, pimping your games with components and shininess. Well, without further ado, let's pass over to RollingWithTwo.
Hello fellow teetotalers, I'm Will, and with me as always is the ultra deluxe one herself.
Sarah.
And we are Rolling with Two, and today we're talking about Deluxification.
Yes.
Is it good? Is it bad? Why not both?
Agreed.
Sarah, start us off.
All right, so one of the main things is with Deluxification is it can either make things better or worse for accessibility, and that is one of the main things that we talk about on our channel. So let's start with one that we really like, and that is shaped things. Whether it's shaped coins where each different denomination is a different size or shape or whatever it is.
Or even material.
Or different material. Shaped meeples. And again, this begins to get into the area where things are less reliant on color to differentiate, and or if you've got resources where they're all squares or they're all circles and it's just a picture on there, well, someone with severe vision issues can't, well, see the difference. So having an actual shaped apple and I don't know, whatever else, bread or things like that, then they can feel the differences, and then that gives them more independence on handling their things.
Yeah, I think subconsciously Sarah thinks, oh, thank God Will can be the banker.
It's
and
true.
I don't have to do everything.
Well, it's true, because one of the drains and challenges is when, especially in a two-player setting here, Will visually cannot deal with things, so therefore almost everything falls to me, which then the more complex the game, the harder it is for me to be able to play and enjoy myself, because then all I'm doing is constantly moving things around for me and for him, and it just sucks the fun out. So when he can handle his own things, or he can be the banker, like he can handle all the resources, and I can be like, okay, I just gained, I'm going back to apples, 2 apples. He can then reach over to the supply and give me 2 apples. And so I can keep going and focus on actually enjoying and playing the game and helping him when he does need help, and both of us can have a good time.
Yes. However, the pendulum can swing the other way and accessibility can be impeded. Like, for example, when you have very shiny foily cards.
Unfortunately, we have seen this more often recently for some bizarre reason. Foil or making your cards reflective makes it very difficult for people with vision disabilities, or just you don't like it at all. I mean, I don't want my cards shining light back in my face.
If you didn't have vision disabilities, you will soon, because it just reflected in your eyes and now you can't see.
Yeah, it's not fun there. I think going back positive, we really enjoy dual layer boards. I know a lot of people think, oh, that's just nice. Well, it's again a real strong accessibility feature, because for Will, he can then feel his board. Do you want to talk more about it?
Yeah, a lot of boards will have like tracks that you have to put your marker on. Not only does it keep it in place and allows me to touch, but I can actually feel left and right to see, well, where is it on the track, and do some counting of myself, so that I'm not always asking for help, and actually keep some of my super sneaky strategies to myself, and then go, haha, and move over the counters.
Because the more he has to ask me to help him tell him what his information is, the more I know about what he's going to do. And yeah, there's definitely games where it's like, I don't want to know what he's doing, even though, yes, it would benefit me. I want to, stay focused on my game.
Yeah. And then there's some deluxe things that we're wondering, is this making it more deluxe? When you have like ultra stiff cards and you have to shuffle, or they're like have a sticky coating.
Yeah, I gotta say, some of the different card qualities that people have gone for, or board qualities, have been really odd choices. And I just, it's not a really accessibility issue one way or, well, I mean, I guess shuffling.
Yeah.
Stiff cards is not easy.
And they cut your hands off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some people will deluxe by, this is actually what they upgraded to. It's like, well, I kind of wish you then went with the lesser quality, because at the very least it would have been more comfortable and feel better in the hands to shuffle.
And lastly, box organizers. Not only is it nice to just keep your box organized, but the ones where you can lift out trays so that everything is not everything, but most things are pre-set up. So you already have all your resources in cubbies, so you can just lift this tray out and there you go. There's your bank of resources. Or card trays where, yes, you'll have to shuffle the cards, but you can lift the cards out, the tray out, have all the cards, shuffle them, put them back in the tray, and there you go. It makes setup faster, which then again puts less burden on the person who can see to set up the game, because like I said, I have to set up the whole game when we play games.
But when you can pull out a tray and go, here's your bank.
Yep.
I'm like, oh boy.
So I think in general, we like a lot of the Deluxification trends that have been going on. Just a few.
I think we feel sad when it's like a Kickstarter only.
Yeah. That's really unfortunate.
But that's why you actually pay attention to all the Kickstarters, because that's when you're going to have the most options for accessibility.
Yep.
All right, that's our opinion. And where can they reach us?
You can reach us on the various social media platforms at RollingWithTwo. That's TWO.
Super Deluxe.
Hello, Tabletop Tea Time. It's Chasing Meeples podcast. Angie and Chris here with our segment, Are We Rolling? And we're talking about Deluxification. And one of my favorite games is Castles of Burgundy. So we had to get the special edition that came out last year.
Yep.
But I don't really go for minis. That's not the way I'd like to Deluxify. This is the duchy that you got with Castles of Burgundy.
It does the job.
It does the job.
It does the job, but
we got the upgrade that has the really cool dice. They're real pretty.
Yep, Awakened Realm did a great job.
They did, because in Castles of Burgundy, you get 2 dice. You're going to roll it, and then you're going to get some hex tiles, or you're going to place your hex tiles, but you're not going to do it on this board. You're going to do it on a recessed board. The indentations, things don't slip, they don't fall. So if you're going to Deluxify something, for me, I would rather have something useful and nothing minis to make it pretty. That's a waste.
Recessed boards, you normally can't go wrong with any type of recessed board.
No.
Like, that should just be a standard.
It should be.
Right? To me, there's only one thing that you need to Deluxify. So when Angie and I first got into the hobby, when we found a game that we liked, I was on a quest. How can I make this game look amazing and feel amazing and just be more amazing than the game is, right? So I spent money on upgrading things. I got minis. I like minis. They're pretty, but most of the time they stay pretty awesome. They stay in the box because...
What happened to the Terraforming Mars mini upgrades that you bought off Etsy?
Well, yeah, they stayed in the box and we never used them. So that's what I was just about to say. So I kind of pulled back a little bit. There's certain things that, get me. I got the, when they Deluxified this Castles of Burgundy, I needed to get that, right? So we got it. We're good. But to me, back to my rant we'll be over now. What I'm gonna talk about now is the one component that I think, if you're gonna upgrade anything or you're gonna Deluxify anything, that is coins. Cha-ching. There is, listen to that. There is cha-ching. There is nothing better than the feeling of a coin when you are playing a game, right? It sounds awesome. It feels great. That's it. You could even use these in a game that has dice in it. See, that's my loose tie-in to a dice game. You could use coins in a game with dice. I'm sure there's one out there. Mm-hmm. But that's it. That is it. Coins. That's all you need to do. That's it.
Thank you for listening. Thank you, Ollie, for allowing us to be part of Tabletop Tea Time.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to be part of this with a great group of contributors.
Don't forget to check out our podcast, Chasing Meeples, and you can find it anywhere that you can find podcasts.
Hi, I'm Josh from the YouTube channel Joshyaks, and when it comes to game deluxification, I am all about it. It's almost a hobby within a hobby for me. Anything I can do to make a game either easier to play or more enjoyable to look at or more fun in general, I am definitely tackling it from all angles. So I pretty much do everything from when I acquire a game. One of the first things I'll do is I'll go on Board Game Geek, I'll look at the file section and see if there are any player aids or rules references I can download that will just help players follow along more easily with the flow of play. And oftentimes, if there aren't any available on BGG, I'll end up making them myself, like the flowchart I made for Flashpoint Fire Rescue, for instance. I also like to create custom components that might make gameplay easier, such as creating nice big player screens in those one versus all hidden movement games. I have a whole video about all the deluxifications I did for my Fury of Dracula game with a big screen for Dracula and player boards for the hunters. I did a bunch of other things, including my very favorite thing I made for that game was actual storm clouds using flickering candles and cotton balls on clear flight stands. So that was a game where part of the goal of the deluxified components was to make the sorting of components easier so the gameplay flowed more easily as well. I enjoy painting figures whenever I get games that have kind of plain figures with them, so I have painted up a lot of the Gloomhaven base game figures over the years. One of my biggest projects was to replace every single component for a game called Helvetia Cup, which was a fantasy-themed soccer game that I completely rethemed to a real-world soccer game and made all the components bigger and more easy to play with. Also, if the goal of board gaming is to have fun, then I'm not opposed to also adding variant rules into my games if I feel like they make the game more fun. So I also check the variant forums on Board Game Geek. Sometimes I'll make my own little tweaks to the rules. In some cases, I've made my own custom-made expansions for games. Like in Clash of Cultures, I made a whole expansion with custom cultures before the official Civilizations expansion came along, and I think working on that was one reason I was invited to be involved with the process of creating the Civilizations expansion. But I did something similar too with Merchants and Marauders. I made a whole expansion using custom components for forts in the game and other various custom components that could be added into the game to make some more interesting elements to gameplay. As you can see, this is an area where I look for every opportunity to bling out my games. Another recent example, Battles of Westeros. I just added some hills and some trees. Again, that simplifies the gameplay so that players can see at a glance what terrain they're dealing with, and it makes a more realistic looking battlefield. So it serves a couple of purposes at once, both ease of play and the pleasing visual element as well. So I just want to send out a huge thank you to all Board Game Geek members who put effort into creating files for our games. I really feel like the files creators on that website are some of the most underappreciated people there, but I am really grateful for the work you do that allows me to enhance my games. Cheers.
Deluxification doesn't necessarily work for every game. My favourite game, Love Letter, well, it kind of doesn't really need anything extra. It's small, it's portable, it's got some nice scoring markers. It doesn't need any more than that. Other games like Terraforming Mars, well, I've certainly added to them and made them shinier with wooden player boards, plastic tiles that go on a neoprene mat. It's certainly been deluxified. Then you get Kickstarters which just do it. I've got the recent Castles of Burgundy sort of special edition, and wow, that really goes above and, well, far beyond what you need. It takes quite a beige looking game and really does make it look a lot more colourful and tactile with these nice hexagon chip things for the actual tiles rather than just cardboard, the metal money, all those nice things that just make playing the game that bit nicer. Some games do and don't need them. Like one of my go-to components to upgrade to make a game a bit more feel a bit more deluxe are metal coins. But a prime example is Scythe and Expeditions, the sequel to Scythe. In Scythe, you use those metal coins throughout the game. You're constantly touching them. They jangle when you collect them. Whereas you use the identical coin set for the sequel Expeditions, and well, they sort of sit off at the side for the majority of the game. You can in fact have an entire game of expeditions where you don't touch those coins until the end game scoring. So I think you do have to be careful what games you get deluxe versions of, or you sort of deluxify them yourself, because some games, like Expeditions, those metal coins normally make every game feel that bit more deluxe, that bit more premium. Well, actually, if you're looking at Scythe and Expeditions, one of those games really benefits from the metal coins, the other one kind of doesn't. You don't even notice that they're there. The long and short of it is, it doesn't matter if you've not got the deluxe version of a game or of that component for a game that you really like, because if you're able to enjoy that game and play it a lot, well, that's all that really matters. Now let's pass over to Evan to talk about a game you've probably never heard of, and let us know in the comments section below if you have.
Hey everybody, I'm Evan, and today I'm going to show you a game you've probably never heard of. This is empty today. The game I would like to highlight today is called Jingnan, The Life of Gentry. This is, well, it's either a 2022 or a 2023 game, depending on where you look. So on the subject of Deluxification, this was kickstarted as a deluxe edition that was released in 2023. It is a game designed by Du Gu Wei, who you may know from a game called Yin Yang, which I've talked about before, and another game called Animals Gathering, which is a fun family sort of game. This is published by MoIdeas, and it plays 1 to 5 if you have the deluxe edition, but honestly I would not suggest playing with 5 players. Instead of going down to the table to show an overview of the game, let me show you some of the deluxe components that were upgraded in this version that was on Kickstarter. Alright, let's check some of these deluxe components out. The first are the action tiles. They come with these cardboard action tiles. They are fine. And then they're upgraded to wood in the deluxe edition. You can't even really tell the difference. The difference comes in when you're pulling them from this bag. It really creates a satisfying experience pulling these wooden tokens. Pretty minor, but still really nice to have. The next one are the inspiration tokens, which you need for like painting your paintings or getting your ideas when you're doing that, or writing your books or that sort of thing. They're pretty generic double-sided tokens. They get upgraded to these really nice engraved ones. They got engraving on one side of them. They're much better than just the round cardboard tokens that you get with the standard game. They are smaller, but it's really not that big of a deal. They actually fit on your player board better when they're smaller, but these are really nice. And then the final one is these are the money tokens in the game. This stuff right here, cardboard tokens. They get upgraded to these. So these, like, they call them ingots. I think they have another name, but I remember looking them up, and it's basically like rich people money in ancient China, because these would be like these solid gold little bowl-looking things. But man, these are nice. These might be some of the nicest money I've ever seen in any game ever, because man, look at these things. A far cry from this little cardboard token. So that just about covers all of the major ones. Let's go back up top, and we'll talk more about the game. Oh no, I almost forgot the best one. These here are boats in the standard edition game. You line up your characters here for scoring purposes. However, in the deluxe version, these are the boats. So tell me, what's better? Laying your meeples on here or having them go on a little boat ride? Come on, how cool is that, right? 3D boats. So there you have it. Those are some of the deluxe components that come with this game. This is a pretty big and involved game, so I'm not necessarily going to go through every little bit of it. So basically, you are the gentry or whatever in 1500s China, and you're looking for inspiration for your great work, such as the paintings and plays and novels. And you do that through like a worker placement type mechanism where you are placing your workers into these different areas all over the board, such as like taverns where you can get inspiration, or travels, which can get you inspiration, or like you can hire assistants or use them as muses, and all sorts of those types of things. But the cool hook to this game is you are is the bag building, where you're using these action tiles to put in your bag and then draw them out and then do them. So every turn you're choosing an action tile to play and then an action tile to discard, which will be refilled at the end of the round when you draft more tiles. So it's an interesting sort of push and pull where you have to get rid of a tile, but you also want to use a tile. And the other cool thing is the boats, which are used for scoring. So you want to get your people onto the boats either first or the most of your people on those boats to trigger these different sort of scoring events that happen a few times during the game, which you can rack up a lot of points if you can do it correctly, where you can choose the scoring tile and then have a lot of that scoring tile that maybe everyone else doesn't have, the scoring qualifications, such as, have the most assistants or have the most of a specific resource or finished works or whatever it is. I think it's fun. But I think it's long. However, I think it's both long and short, if that makes any sense, because it's one of those games where, yes, the game runs long. However, you feel like you never have enough workers to do everything you want to do during a round. So that's what I mean by like it's long and short at the same time. You always feel like you need one more action or one more worker and you could accomplish what you want to accomplish. So a lot of times you have to like carry over and like plan for the next round because you just can't do it all in one round. And in regards to Deluxification, there's one more thing I forgot to mention, and that's there's these useless standees that are in the game that there were a stretch goal for this deluxe version that they serve no purpose other than a giant standee that when you draft the assistant, you can take it, I guess, and it sits in front of you. Yeah, no particular reason. But this game also does have a lot of modularity because everything has a second side with a different type of ability or different setup or that sort of thing. There is one downfall to the Deluxification of this game because and it has to do with those boat tiles, because those 3D boats, if you're depending on where you're sitting at the table, can block either the score track or it can block some of like the boards, which can be a little irritating for such a nice upgrade. But yeah, I guess that's all we're gonna say about this game today. So if you want to find it, you can probably find it just about anywhere. And I guess, well, thanks for having me again and hearing me ramble about this game, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hi, I'm Barb, MeeplePhD, and I'm an astronomer, and that means I see astronomy everywhere. And in this segment, I want to bring to you some unexpected astronomy that I have found in a board game. This time, I'm looking at the Ancient World, specifically the second edition of the Ancient World. The Ancient World is a worker placement game where you are building up a society and its armies in order to prosper and protect yourself from the titans who threaten the land. Over the course of 6 rounds, you're going to place out workers in order to claim and build new buildings, increase your population, beef up your armies, earn money, and improve your knowledge. Instead of placing out a worker, you can also employ your armies in order to take out an attacking titan. Throughout the game, you're going to be building up a tableau of cards representing your society. This includes your defeated titans, but also locations and different actions that you can take. And the ultimate goal here is to make points, of course, and a majority of those points are going to come from these sets of banners that appear on the cards that you are collecting. Now, it's one of those cards that caught my attention. The Moon Festival, which is super cool. Without recorded history, we don't necessarily know how ancient peoples viewed the moon, but as the brightest object in the sky other than the sun, it has certainly been known to humans since the beginning of humanity. And some researchers think that they have found evidence that ancient peoples were tracking the phases of the moon, either through cave paintings or markings on bones. But there isn't a strict consensus about that. But regardless of that, we do know that the Egyptians had a lunar calendar before they had a solar calendar. So they were clearly watching the phases of the moon and the comings and goings of the moon, as it were. And in fact, even after they developed the solar calendar, the lunar calendar hung around for a while for rituals and religious purposes. And so what I really like is, one, this was a reason for me to go look up how ancient peoples saw the moon. But there's this nod to, certainly in the ancient world here, we knew about the moon. We maybe watched the moon. We possibly celebrated its comings and goings. We're not entirely sure about that. But there's a nod to all of this in that single card in the ancient world. So I hope you've enjoyed this little foray into some unexpected astronomy in the ancient world. Let me know if you find some unexpected astronomy in a board game in the comments. I'd love to hear about it so that I can look into it too. Otherwise, you can follow me on Instagram and Blue Sky as MeeplePhD. I have my own YouTube channel, also MeeplePhD, and a blog at MeeplePhD.com. Otherwise, grab a cup of tea and enjoy the rest of your tea time.
Now it's the time for the Spotlight Creator segment, where each month I invite a creator to basically do a little bit of a deep dive into themselves, not only introducing themselves, but answering some rapid fire questions. Now let's pass back over to Evan, who you saw earlier on in today's show, to introduce himself and his channel.
Hi Oliver, I'm eVanDiesel, or eVanDiesel, as you may have heard somewhere around the internet, but you can just call me Evan. Over on my channel, well, we just do board game videos for the fun of it, because I guess we enjoy talking about them. But I also do a weekly unboxing over there, which highlights a game that maybe no one's ever heard of, or a lesser known game, and just kind of with some music backed. And it's not a very long video, but it kind of get the word out on maybe some things that less people know about. But aside from that, we like talking about games, I guess. So sometimes we do we're doing our top 3 countdown of the alphabet. We're slowly getting our way through that, and we're nearing the end. So we're gonna get there eventually. I guess we don't really do anything regularly other than that. So yeah, that about sums it up.
You certainly show off some unique games, but what would you say is your favourite game and your favourite mechanism?
Whenever anybody asks me what my favorite game of all time is, I always go to Eldritch Horror. It's a game I fell in love with pretty early on when I started getting back into board games. I don't know, I love the epic feel of it, where you're traveling all over the world and fighting monsters and horrible things are happening, and it's an epic all-day experience. But honestly, I have not played it in almost 2 years now. So is it still my favorite game of all time? I still really love it, and I still really hold it in high regard. But maybe if I ever get around to doing a top 100, we'll see if it's still the number one. And as far as mechanisms go, I really like engine builders. That's something that Eldritch Horror does not have. And a good example for that would be Fields of Green. I like when there's when you're putting these cards all over the table and you're using one to trigger another one, like you got to pump this water to feed these, to water these crops, and then to feed the animals, and then to whatever, get all kinds of points through the different things like that. So an engine building game is always super satisfying for me.
Some cool choices there, and we definitely need to see a top 100 video series from you, because that would have some unique games on it, I'm pretty sure of that. Now for a fun one, what game has the best meeple in it?
Well, my favorite meeple is technically a seeple, and that is contained in this game right here, Aqua Garden. Now, Uchibakoya makes the best meeples you've ever seen. Like, seriously, hands down, like, nothing is better than what they do. And there is such a variety of fish and sea creatures and sea life and plants and all kinds of strange things like that in this game. But there's one that stands out, and it's this whale right here. This is probably my most favorite meeple of all time. I love this guy. What's not to love? Look at him. So, I love him.
What game did you play last?
The last game I played was this one right here. It's called Lucky First Incense. In this game, you have like a handful of cards that are family members. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to be the first ones to light the incense at the beginning of the Chinese New Year, which I guess brings you good luck. And it's really fun because you're playing cards face up and face down, and then they kind of square off against each other, tournament style, to see who can get to the spot first to light the incense. And there's all kinds of like special powers, and like you can use your incense to like activate special abilities. And yeah, I don't know, it was a heck of a lot of fun. That was it.
On trend there with a game I've never played. Now, what sort of hobbies do you have outside of board gaming?
One hobby that stuck with me my whole life, well, that is watching movies. Man, there's nothing I like more than just sitting on this couch watching some flicks. Usually it's when everyone else is asleep, because the movies I like to watch, well, you know, maybe aren't so family friendly. But you know what? I've grown up watching movies. I love going to the theater to watch movies, even though I don't do it as much anymore. But you know, enough of that. Let's check out what I've been watching lately. Let's see here. We got Tetsuo the Iron Man. This is one of my favorites right here, Hanabi, which is funny because there's a game called that, but I knew it from that movie first. We got Alucarda, which this movie is wild. And then here's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, underrated, probably one of my most favorites. And then we have House, not the American one, but the Japanese one. This movie is crazy. And then I recently, one of my all-time favorite movies is called Delamore, which is of love and of death. Or of death and of love. I guess I said that backwards. But this is one of my absolute favorites. It's kind of a zombie-ish movie. It's got Rupert Everett in it. And basically he runs a graveyard where everyone comes back to life. And so he has to re-kill them every night. It's a fantastic movie. I have a huge passion for movies. That's for sure.
I think it's fair to say, much like with your sort of choice of board games, your choice of films is eclectic and varied, and I've not heard of most of them. What can people expect to see on your channel in the next few weeks?
Well, we are currently playing and replaying through all of our 2023 games and hope to get our end of the year videos out ASAP. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, like a recap video and then like a top 10. We're working on it. We're just a little, slow as far as those things go around here, but what's the hurry, right? And then maybe we'll have a 2024 anticipated type list coming up soon. Some sort of video. I really want to do that this year. I always mean to, and I just kind of never get around to it, or I make the list and the video doesn't get filmed for whatever reason. Something like that. But then, of course, there's the weekly unboxings on my channel every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. One goes up, so you can always watch for that. And then there's like a whole catalog of them that you can go through if you want to check those out. But anyway, thank you, Oliver, for having me, and I enjoyed answering these questions, and I enjoy just being a part of these shows every week, so I really appreciate it. And yeah, hey, I guess that's it, and we will talk to you next time.
And well, that about wraps us up today. Thanks to Evan, and thanks to all of the creators that joined me on today's show. Their links will be in the description box down below, so you can go and check them out and share the love of board games, because that's what this show is all about. It's Tabletop Tea Time, and well, until next time, have a great month gaming.